Hi. Yeah, as a last speaker in this session, I'd like to talk about a little bit different story, not waste management and technology, but something about environmental health and the effects from the incinerators with the case of the dioxin. So I like this advertisement very much by the city of Incheon, and we are really on the edge of the cliff. So as other speakers already mentioned, after the 2025, we don't use this Incheon the landfill site anymore. And just before this session, Professor told me a very optimistic view, but I don't think so. So there are many different interests and political issues. So we are really on the edge of the cliff. So I have seen this advertisement for quite many times in the newspaper. That means they don't have any the attempt to extend their landfill site. And without the pre-treatment, we also have not only the greenhouse gases, but also the microplastics. This is a very important current issue in the environment. So, but however, the increase of we have the large increase of the plastic waste every year. And also this is the number of the disposal usage per person in Korea. So we have we are using a lot of many vinyl bags and PET bottle and plastic cups. So among the many different types of the waste, the plastic waste is actually, I think the current issue and the important issue, and more important issue in the future. And so, yeah, we can say the municipal solid waste incinerators are needed and inevitable to reduce the landfill. But the key issue is the dioxin. Actually, dioxin became issued to the public in 1996 as the first municipal solid waste institute was built in Moktong area in Seoul. So there were large demonstrations against the operation of this incinerator. So yeah, we can say that this is a typical NIMBY phenomenon, not in my head. Everybody knows that waste treatment and management are very important, but not in my backyard, okay? So in your yard. So after this social issue again about the incinerator, the government launched the national survey in 1998 for dioxin emission from various incinerators, showing that small size incinerators, especially industrial waste and waste incinerators, showed have the most the dioxin emissions comparing to the large scale incinerators. So after the national survey, the Ministry of Environment and government and actually enforced the dioxin special law in 1999, and the standard was set as the 0.1 for the MSWI, and also same as 0.1 for the large scale industrial incinerators. And also this law contains the contents of the prohibition of the illegal burning and the reduction of small size incinerators. So Before this special law in Korea, there were many small-size illegal incinerators and incineration activities. So due to this special law, this type of illegal burning or the very poorly equipped the small-size incinerators were actually stopped. So after that, from year 2000, also the nationwide environmental monitoring of dioxin was initiated for the emission inventory and human exposure, animal plant accumulation, soil contamination, and air concentrations, as well as the bioconcentration of fish and shellfishes. So from the long time monitoring, we accumulate the information knowledge on the dioxin levels with the season, the higher in winter and lower in summer, and partitioning behavior of dioxins in gas and solid phases, and soil dioxin levels with the distance from the facilities, something like that. And also, we have conducted many of the atmospheric diffusion models for residents who are worrying about the effect of the incinerators. And also, City of Seoul started a research project in year 2000, and it continues until today. So the first stage was actually began in 2000, and today is seventh stage. So it includes environmental monitoring and human exposure assessment and the medical examination. So the objective is to conduct environmental and health impact assessment for the resident living around the MSWIs in Seoul. So as firstly showed us, we have 4 MSWIs in Seoul, and MAPO MSWI is the last incinerator actually built and in operation in Seoul. So it was almost 20 years ago. And this is, I found that this is quite old data, but now it's about 22,000 tons per day, right? So at the time, the recycle rate is only 64%. It's quite similar to these days, right? And incineration is 10% and then 26%. So these rates are not much changed. But as you can see here, the capacity, the one-day incineration capacity is much larger than the one-day throughput. For example, for non-MSWI, it's 800 ton capacity, but the operation rate is only 18%, and Yangcheng is just 33%, and Gangnam is 25% due to many reasons. So the maintenance period, quite relatively long maintenance period, and sometimes the residents stop the operation and so on. But I don't talk about the kind of the waste management, but today I talk about the dioxin monitoring result. So we exclude the MAPO facility because the living area is relatively far from the incinerator. So we have chosen these 3 incinerators as a case study. So this is typical the process of the MSWI. This is the case of the No1 facility, and this back filter and SCR the key the process to reduce dioxin. So we have done a lot of studies to optimize the process to reduce the dioxin level from the stacks. So the result is that we can reduce more than 1/10 of the standard. So these days, it is now operated at the level of 0.01 nanogram TEQ, which is the 1/10 of the standard. So but in early 2000, we narrowly meet the standard of the 0.1 nanogram. So anyway, I have a little different view. So from the view of the resident and the normal citizens, this facility is not waste to energy facility. This is just incineration facility. So the general people just call this the incinerator, but Seoul City or the government people call resource recovery facility. So that exclude the incineration. I don't think it's not true. Anyway, so this is the NERSC method. I skip a sample, and this is the method for human sample. So this very important figures. So results show that for the long time monitoring, from the year 2000, when we first start the monitoring of dioxin from air, it reduced to this level, which is almost 95% reduction. And while the inventory also reduced from 2001 to 2018 by the almost 88% reduction. So reduction in inventory actually resulted in the reduction in the air concentration. So the significant reduction of dioxin in the air was observed during the period of the last 22 years since the strengthening of related regulations, while minuscule reduction was found in the human serum. So this is a very good case of the success of the government regulation to mitigate environmental pollution. So the different from the large the reduction in the air and inventory, the serum concentration is not much reduced. So from here to here, it's a 44% reduction. But if you see from the year 2008, then the serum concentration is not much changed. So it doesn't reduce anymore. So this is quite the background level for general people living in Seoul. And we also compared the dioxin result with other heavy metals in the human serum. And during the same period, the lead concentration is quite largely reduced like this, but not the cadmium and mercury. But interestingly, the cadmium is very largely associated with the dioxin. So I don't know the reason exactly, but maybe the quite large good correlation between two compound is due to maybe type of waste or whatever. So you have to figure out. And we found also that as the particle size decreased, the dioxin levels tended to increase gradually because of specific surface area. So the particulate, the PM, so the 2.5, the dioxin levels is much higher. Concentrations were higher than the larger size particulate. So this is very important for the human health. But dioxin intake, the direct through the direct inspiration is very low. So by the calculation, we can guess that the direct inhalation by inhalation exposure is just about 5%, less than 5%. And there's no gender specific, so male and female is about same in concentration, but there is a strong positive association with age, which has been found, which is due to the long exposure period and the deterioration of the metabolism capacity, and maybe the distinction of the daily lifestyles of aged and the young people. So the more aged, then a higher concentration of the dioxin in your blood. And even the dioxin is the matter of the general people. This level is a PPT level, so 10 to minus 12 gram per gram level. So comparing to PCB, so if you have the for example, 1 picogram of the dioxin, then you have the million times, 10 to 6 billion, right? Times of PCB. So you have much more PCBs in your blood. So this is kind of the symbol. So when you have this much dioxin, you have much higher levels of the other things such as the PCB, DDT, and PBD, and OSPs. Dioxins and the PBDs are showing the decline trend, which is due to the UC, the reduction of usage and the regulation of each compound. So, but the purple compound is very largely increased, then decreased after the regulation. And other compounds are similar to purple compound. And we knew that the dioxins are a little bit related with the diabetes. So there are two types of diabetes. One is type 1 and type 2. Type 2 diabetes is environmental related diabetes. So the type 2 diabetes is increasing, and probably due to the increase of the environmental pollutants. And because I don't have much time, and this last talks, I'll reduce almost everything. And so the point is that the direct exposure by dioxin in the air to the human is just 5%. So 95% is from ingestion, the food intake. That does not mean the stack flue gas control is not important, because the dioxin emission affects the environmental levels. Then the food, the bio concentration, bio magnification actually result in contamination in food. So you take that. So I just talk about the pathways. So we have, this is general Korean the table, dinner table every day. Yeah, so we eat too much these days. Yeah, that's the problem, I think. Comparing to many years ago, yeah, Korean economy grows as I think we eat too much, and then also the not the vegetable but more animal food. That affects the increase of the dioxin level in your blood. And I'll skip almost. And other important thing is that this kind of POPs compound, including dioxin, are transmitted to the next generation through the cold blood. So we have seen that there are some correlations between the cold serum and the placenta. So dioxins and other several the heavy metals are transmitted from mother to babies. So this is the summary in case of the dioxin study. Dioxin level in ambient air has decreased since 2001 when the first monitoring started, after the strong emission regulations for incinerators by the Ministry of Environment Korea. And the second, We confirmed higher dioxin levels in smaller size particulate in air, which could cause much higher adverse health effect to human. That's why we have to reduce, continuously reduce the dioxin or the pollutant in the air, because those are mainly observed on fine particles. Thirdly, more than 50% of the total participants had dioxin levels of 8 to 11 picogram TQ level, which was similar to that of other developed countries. So yeah, Korean level is not much higher than the people in developed countries. There is a significant correlation between age and dioxin level, but not with gender. Lastly, for the last 22 years, the dioxin level in the resident of Seoul, especially living near MSWIs, was not much changed, indicating its slow metabolic decomposition and other possible sources besides incinerators. So I'm really thanking to the government of Seoul and the people, the resident living near the facility for this kind of long study, 22 years. So I think it continues. So this very rare case, the long-term study. So in the environment. Thank you for your attention.